Okay folks, how you all doing? So today we are going to be painting this little guy. This is a file I've 3D printed on my Elegoo Mars resin printer, and this file is made by this chap. So go check him out because he does some really awesome models. Okay, now the resin I've used is grey, so as you can see I've already primed this in white, because that's not very exciting. You don't want to see that on a video. Who's interested in that, eh? The primer I have used is, come on camera, that one. So it's Vallejo acrylic polyurethane for surface primer in white. So I've just done a couple of coats of that. There were some blemishes that I've sorted out, like some little shift lines in the print. You can see one that went across his face there. I've just gone in with the scalpel and very carefully just trimmed it down so you can't see it anymore. But yeah, that is that. It's an awesome sculpt, isn't it? It's amazing. So what I'm going to do now is spray the whole thing in black. One of these is black. There we go. Although there's not a lot of that left. We'll see how it goes. There might not be enough of that, but we'll see. So this is Vallejo Premium Black. And for this I am using, although it is a bit grubby, an Iwata Eclipse HPCS. Of course, it would be better if I just had some black primer, but sadly, I don't have any to hand, so I've had to use the white primer, and then I'll spray it black over the top. Okay, so I've painted him all in black. I've changed the camera angle as well because the camera kept focusing on all my paints and not the model. So it looks like there's a few spots I've missed, but it's just the light reflecting because it's like a satin black. But that's Spidey, all done in black. Also done the base in black and also my fingers. So next up, put them down carefully so as not to damage that. I wasn't sure whether to do black Spidey or traditional red and blue Spidey. I'm I mean, black Spidey is cool, as you can see, you know. You don't need a little bit of shading, but that will kind of be a cop-out, I think. And I get notifications. I think black Spidey would be a bit of a cop-out. So I'm going to go with red and blue Spidey, I think. So we don't need the base for a while. He can go over there. So what we're going to do is the blue first, I think. And for that, I don't know, what blues have I got? As I'm kind of making this up as I go along. We've got Vallejo Cobalt Blue. That's quite a nice one. That would look nice. Stop notifying me of things. Would that be too bright? I don't know. Let's try it. So let's start with the, you can tell I've got no plan here, can't you? So we'll start with the Vallejo Cobalt Blue. And what I'm going to do with this is get a bit of tissue, which is in the kitchen. So just a regular bog standard piece of kitchen roll. Very exciting stuff. And a large bristled, fairly stiff bristled brush. If I get it on camera. There you go. Also, nitrile gloves. Very handy. I'm going to be handling this figure a lot, so I'm going to glove myself up so the oils from my skin don't go onto the figure and cause me problems. You don't need it on both hands though, just the one, that will do it. Right, pour some of this onto here, like so. Got it on my finger as well, which is really clever. Good job, Al. And then, if you don't know what dry brushing is, basically you load the brush up with paint like so, and then you wipe off 99% of it, which sounds a bit weird. I was like, why do you do that? You know, surely no paint will go on the model. But as you'll see in a second, hopefully that's coming out on camera if I get it in the shot. Yeah, so hopefully you can see that on there. It's just got a bit of blue on there, but the shadows are still black. So we'll just go around and we'll do that over the entire model. Well, all the blue bits anyway. So there's the legs all done. As you can see, the black remains in like the crevices and does half the work for you, basically, the black base coat, which is very handy. So now I shall do the bits of his arms that are blue. Okay, so there's the main blue base done. Dry brushed it fairly heavy so that there was a lot of blue coverage, but you've still got some of the black showing through in like some of the major recesses. So that's how he looks. So now we're going to have to do the highlights. This is where you dry brush lightly because you don't want to overdo it. And for this I'm going to use the Vallejo Premium Basic Blue. So I've washed my dry brush out. And put some of this on the cloth. And same drill again. So make sure your brush is dry after you've washed it, of course. That's cool. So load up the brush, wipe off 99% of it, and then just go lightly on this because you don't want to overdo it with this one. There goes my airbrush. There you go, just like that. So we'll continue that all the way around his body, all the blue bits. Obviously he'll have a good highlight on his bicep. Okay, so I'll carry on doing that around the rest of his body. Is that washed out, or can you see it? Okay, so that's the dry brushing done. As you might be able to see, the texture is a bit unsightly. For instance, it picks up the layers in the 3D print. So what I'm going to do is just go over it with my airbrush, like I've done here, just to smooth that lighter blue out a bit, so it doesn't look quite so brushed, if that makes sense. go. So now we need to do the same again, but with red, really, on all the red bits. So we've got to choose what red we're actually going to use. Let's turn that over like that. So for Spidey, that's a metallic red, that's no good. That's a candy red. Okay, so I don't actually have any Vallejo red other than candy red, and candy will act differently when it comes to the airbrushing. Dry brushing, sorry. So what I'm going to do is use this Trident red. Same deal as before, squirt some on the tissue and dry brush it on. As we're getting into all the little nitty gritties now, all the little details, I've switched from my big dry brush, which will put red all over the blue. I've switched to this much smaller one. What was I saying that? Because there's not much going on around the edges of the boots, I've switched to the big one again. I'll have to switch to, obviously, the hands I could do with this big one, but when I'm doing like down here, this big one will be too big, so I'll have to switch to the smaller one for that. But for now, stuff it. Let's use the big one. Gets it done quicker.